Hello and welcome back to Universal Love Law. Today I'm going to be discussing the dark-sided Taurus energy. And so I just want to give the disclaimer first and foremost that when I talk about the dark side of the Taurus energy, it's not saying that all Taurus people experience life like this or live out or manifest life this way. Their behavior may not be this way and their reactions may not be this way. These are for the more jaded Taurus, and it could be very subconscious. A person that has a lot of Taurus energy within their chart or their sun sign, moon or rising, they can display these acts. So it's very important for a person to take in consideration what I say as purely entertaining or justified based on what you see as truth for yourself or the person you're observing. And that is your discernment. You must be honest with yourself. I cannot say who you are. You should know that. And sometimes I feel like people take things extremely personal without being discerning and not being honest with themselves. And I don't like that. I prefer people to be very honest about their experiences and what they observe, and then take what they can and leave the rest. You don't have to take everything that I'm saying as truth, right? So let's get into this video. So first and foremost, the Taurus is, what do you think? Fixed Earth. Fixed Earth. So that means these people are stubborn because they're fixed. They're like a rock, a boulder, a mountain. It's kind of hard to move these people. They don't like change. They can be very hardworking and lazy at the same time at work. Like these people, they are able to get jobs and they can work very hard. But they can have this very nonchalant and very laid back and lack of energy type of energy. More positive traded Tauruses can be very motivating, but very grounded and very earthly. So they can be very down to earth, but you can still feel this momentum from them. Now, the more negative traded Taurus people can be very goal oriented and work oriented, and they can put that first before their family, before everything. They can just serve money as if it's the almighty. And so these people can get lost in materialistic things. They can be very materialistic. They're also ruled by the Venus energy, so a sensuality, pleasure, and things of that nature. So Taurus energy, the dark-sided Taurus people can be, they can abuse things that are physical and lack that spiritual aspect of things and that detachment from things. They can be very attached, so they can be extremely addicted to certain things like feelings, sensations, and also food. Everyone knows that that can be a very strong downfall, but not just food, but anything that is something that can give them a sense of nurturing or sensuality or sensitivity. They can be secret weird eaters. Like they can have really weird food fetishes or they can secretly eat a lot of food. And then an even more negative trait, these dark-sided Taurus people can have eating disorders as well. So they can be like bulimic or anorexic, things of that nature. They can suffer from a lot of things. They can put themselves through a lot of suffering because we're talking about the side of Taurus. We're not just talking about the positive side of Taurus where someone can be a chef and really showcase their skills. We're talking about people that can eat a lot and throw it up. We're talking about people that have those psychological imbalances, those chemical imbalances, right? So Tauruses are very prone to having addictions to certain things like food and and also materialistic things, physical things that they can possess and own. This also leads into them being hoarders, secret hoarders. They can hoarder things and not let them go in fear of losing of memories. They can be very attached to materialistic things and even gifts. Of course, no one should just, get rid of their gifts and throw things away, but sometimes they can keep clothes that they can no longer fit, and like it'll be very hard for them to let go of their possessions because they can be very possessive of people as well as things. So they can treat people in their life as if they're objects and they're obligated to them. They can have high expectations for people and expect them to do things the way they want them to. They can be very selfish and greedy criminals. They can be in a criminal world. These can be your scammers. These can be the people that deal with fraud. These are the people who are very consistent too. So they will build and capitalize, and even on a very darker nature, these people can be very sadistic with rage because they are the bull, so they can have a lot of rage. If their Taurus energy is negatively aspected, they can have a lot of rage and be very defensive about everything. They don't like any threats to them, feeling as if they need to change some aspects of themselves. The more negative ones, they will be very vocal about the fact that they don't need to change. They feel like they're okay, and they wear two faces. They can be very agreeable and graceful. They can tap into their earth energy and be very grounded and speak when spoken to. And they're very aware of how to utilize that Taurus energy to their benefits, to gain finances and gain material wealth. But secretly and subconsciously, they can be battling some mental, psychological issues that create them to be that you will see it, if you're around them long enough. You will see how jaded they could be. You can see how selfish they can be, how introverted they can be, all for the purpose of just keeping people out of their secret world of what they're truly doing, right? So yeah, they can self-sabotage by being very selfish and things of that nature. They can push a lot of people out of their life, because only very loyal people will deal with the dark-sided, jaded Taurus. And they can get a lot of people in their life. So it could look a few ways. So there are some Tauruses that are very gifted with the ability to create material wealth in their life. So they'll keep an entourage. They'll keep a lot of people around them that kind of help them blend in, and they can hide behind the scenes but have all this fucked up shit, all this messed up stuff happening with them, right? So this is the friend that has the car, the house, and everything, but they don't have the personality because they possess all that earthly energy. So they're so down to earth. They're not coming out of themselves a lot. They're out of their face. So they can be very negative in that sense, where they take advantage of their friends to get people around them. So they can be very manipulative and calculating. They can use their materialistic things to kind of like gain following. And this is like your Instagram models, that they gain a lot of following through and clout through, this projection of themselves that isn't themselves, this perfectionist energy. Now, it's not like Virgo, where it can be kind of like obsessive, OCD in a way, but they're very attentive to detail. So you have your bummy, dark-sided Tauruses, where they're extremely like, they don't care. They just are all out for themselves, very selfish. They push everyone away. And then you have your ones that have a lot of money that will control you with money. A lot of parents, people that have children that are Tauruses, they can have two faces as well. They can come off as a very successful parent with all of these things and all of these qualities, and then out of the blue you learn like, oh, they're really just shady. They treat their child like crap. They buy their child's love. You know, they can be very jaded in that sense. They are, excuse me, they are the bulls, so they can be extremely aggressive when backed up in a corner or when threatened. So it's important not to kind of trigger their psychological defaults because they will show you how strong they are. And a lot of times that's where people get things twisted. You might think, oh, your Taurus friend who is just in a part of the crew or just, you know, around to be around. But then out of the blue, you realize that, you know, you try them one day and then you see how strong their temper is. Okay. So these are the more negative ones. Now, Taurus in a positive light, that's a different video. They can be extremely graceful and they can be very empathetic to others, very sensitive to themselves and others, and they're very aware and conscious of their light and dark side. So they know it's in them, but they don't act and respond on the negative as much. So they really strive to work towards, you know, making everyone happy. Now, the dark-sided Taurus energy, they're going to make themselves happy. They don't care about making everybody else happy. No, no, no. No, no, no. And these people in early childhood can also be extreme bullies. These people can just sense weakness. These people sense weakness if they're like deprived of something materialistically. Like, you know, in school, everybody like, oh, what kind of clothes you wear, what kind of shoes you wear. If they're not feeling in a caliber where they can blend in and they're just being picked on, these are the bullies that become bullied. So they get bullied and become more of a bully. So yeah, so that's something to be very weary of. Don't ever try to steal from a Taurus that's jaded, because they won't. They, even a regular Taurus energy person, don't take nothing from them without letting them know you did. They will put something down and expect it to be there because they just like life to be extremely simple. They like things to be very down to earth for them, and that's the way they operate, and that's what makes them operate very healthy. So when like if you're threatening their possessions, they will attack even if they're not jaded. If they're not jaded, they may approach you and say, hey, what happened? Very direct. These people could be very direct and blunt, kind of like the Sagittarius energy. They can be extremely direct. But when they're more jaded, now they can become revengeful, like their opposite sign, Scorpio. So they can be very revengeful and hold revenges and like just be very stern with you. These people also like to surround themselves with people of certain statures, and they like to make fun of people. It's like an insecurity thing. Like they like to make fun of people to make themselves feel better. That's what the bulls have in common. The Aries and the Taurus, they kind of like to, like the more jaded ones, they like to put other people down so that they feel better. Now, I'm gonna tell you, those Taurus energy that is not jaded, they will not put other people down. They will fight for other people. They will actually stand up. They're actually very honorable, and I know because I have some Taurus people that I really admire. I admire their ability to just stand up for the ones that they care about, and it's not for them to look a certain way. They just repulse off of that negative energy of hurting another person, you know. But when it comes to a jaded Taurus, oh, they think that they're better than other people. They're very superficial. They're not genuine or down to earth as their sign would seem to be. They're down to earth when it comes to possessing these worldly or these materialistic things. The way they go about it, they're very ground to earth and practical. They'll make money to get these things, and they'll do all these routines and all to acquire. But when it comes to you sitting with them one on one, they will project the aura of superficial, materialistic, bully, um, you know, self-orientated, but they realize they're nothing. The thing about Taurus energy is the jaded ones. They're nothing without people feeling like they're something. Like they want to possess all these things secretly for themselves, but also for others. And that's another thing about those jaded Taurus people. They want to be seen a certain way. They deal with the status very strongly too, like kind of like the Capricorn energy. um yeah, and oh, another thing about the dark-sided Taurus energy is they can be extremely cautious, and it can cause them to it can prevent them from actually having like um it can prevent them from having opportunities to them. Like they can have an opportunity in front of them that is going to get them from point A to point Z, but their fear and their cautious will cause them to be like, no, they lack faith, they lack belief. A jaded Taurus, they are only practical. They only do what makes sense, and they don't have any ability to believe in themselves and believe that it might, this is a very big endeavor to go, and this is so different from the norm. Even if the steps were laid out in front of them, if they're stubborn enough or they're dark-sided enough, they will be so cautious to the point where they sabotage themselves from actually experiencing, better opportunities for themselves. They like to stay in comfortable places. Now, this can even manifest as someone who is just like a hood star, someone who never wants to get out of the hood. Like you become famous, popular in that sense. Social media, you got all this following, you have this whole reputation, you got all the money, but these people are never settled. They are just they're settled in their image and their reputation, but they look at Meek Mill. For instance, a lot of people say like he just can't evolve like out of that mindset, or just look at a person who has everything handed to them, but they just become so cautious and stable to what they are used to and what they're prone to where they're just like, I'll pass, I'm good over here, and actually kind of be their own worst enemy. Okay, so yeah, thank you so much for tuning into this video. Please let me know what you think in the comments below, and peace.